Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 15 of Zesty Thoughts with your host, Annábla. I hope everyone has had a wonderful weekend and week. My week has been very eventful. For those of you that aren't in LA or haven't seen the news, there has been an insane heat wave in LA this week. I live in Santa Monica and it was literally in like the high 90s here, which is not normal at all. I mean, I work in the valley, so I'm used to some heat in the summer and triple digits, but it was crazy. It was like on another level. And I conveniently had a 10K on the calendar with my friend Brianna for this weekend during the heat wave. We've been training for a while. I mean, Brianna's in her like running era. She's done like half marathons. She's gonna do the LA marathon, like girl. So she's been like running, but we've been trying to do a race together for a while, and we tried to do one last year, but she had an injury, so it didn't work out. And we're like, let's do the Santa Monica Classic. So we did it. But both of us in our training had only gone up to 4 miles. So we were like, well, let's just do this. We'll give it a go. See how it goes. And I mean, it could have been worse, but it was just very, very, very humid. Even though it was like early in the morning, it was just like that humidity really got to me in my lungs. My heart rate got super high. So now I know what to train for in the future, just in case, weather is not in my control in any given race, depending on the time of year. So I can be a little bit more prepared for that. But anyway, we made it through. We survived. It was rough for sure, but we made it through. This morning, I had a very interesting experience in a yoga class. I go to LA Fitness, and there is a class schedule for yoga, Zumba, like all those kinds of things. So I go to the yoga class. I've never been to any of the classes, like to preface. I usually just like lift and then use cardio equipment and like the sauna, and that's pretty much it. I haven't even used the pool there, which I still want to, but I just haven't. So I've never taken a class there. I figured, let's do it. I'm sore from my 10K. Let me take a yoga class and like stretch and de-stress, and have a really nice workout and stretch to get me back into working out after my crazy race to help with recovery. So anyway, I looked on the schedule that there was a class this morning. I said, oh, okay, I'll check it out. It said yoga, and in the description it said bring like, mat and towel and water, whatever you need. So, I'm like ready. I'm in my fit, my typical kind of fit that I would wear to yoga, and I have my mat and I'm ready to go. I walk into like the studio room where the class is, and mind you, I'm like 5 minutes late, but it didn't matter. Like the door was left open anyway, so it was fine. Clearly the instructor didn't mind that, or doesn't mind people coming and going. But I was like 5 minutes late, and I walked into like pop music. Like there were speakers set up, and she was playing like dance music, like pop music. And I just like right away, I was like, am I in the wrong class? Like, am I in the wrong place? But I know that gym, like I know there's like nowhere else it would be. It's like the only room where it would be. So I was like a little bit confused. I was like, maybe there's just like a fun yoga class. Like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. But that was the first red flag. Second red flag was that, there weren't that like many people in there, maybe 10, including me. And I have seen workout classes there before where that room is like packed with people with yoga mats, and also just like packed in general. So that was the second sign that like was going to be an interesting experience. So anyway, I set up my mat, take off my shoes, I'm like all ready, diving into the flow. And I realized that like the music is so loud that I can't hear the instructor. And I'm like towards the back. I'm not like in the very back, but it's like a pretty big room and everyone's spaced out like really well because there weren't that many people there. So everyone has their own like personal space. But I can't hear this woman for the life of me. And I don't know if it's just me and my like crappy hearing, because I feel like I don't have like bad hearing, but like I find myself in situations all the time where I'm like, what? And I like can't hear what people say if they're like far away from me. So like my like distance hearing is bad. And I was like, is this just me because I can't like hear very well far away? I don't know. Or like the music's too loud. I'm like, am I the only one that thinks that? I like was so close to saying something because like when you're in a yoga class, like you usually rely on being able to hear the instructor talk you through poses and breathing and holding and da-da-da-da-da. You rely on your hearing because you don't want to have to look up every 5 seconds out of your pose. You want to be able to stay in a specific position if you're looking a certain way, yada, yada. But like I could not hear this woman. So I was this close to saying something and then she got up and like turned the volume down. And I could like kind of hear her a little bit better. But I quickly realized that this was not like a yoga class. It was a stretching class, that's for sure. I got a really good stretch, but it was not a yoga class by any means. Not once did we get into downward dog. There were literally no yoga poses, like names or terminology used at all. I heard her say tabletop once. That's not even like the actual name of the pose, but like, do you know what I mean? So this was not a yoga class. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, I got a good stretch. I made the most of it. I had a positive attitude. I was like, okay, I'll just, you know, hold the poses a little bit longer than she's instructing us to so I can get like a little bit more of a stretch. But it was very interesting, to say the least. I thanked her at the end. I was like very generous. I was trying to be like nice, you know, but I was just like confused. So I like went downstairs to the front desk and I was like, yeah, that was not a yoga class, just so you know. Like it's like a stretching class, but like it probably shouldn't be labeled as yoga because people will be confused like I was. It was a fine stretching class. Plenty of people will want an entire class. It's literally just stretching. Trust me. But like, don't call it yoga. That's not what it was. But anyway, it was kind of funny. Even at the end, she was like, sorry if you guys thought this was like going to be a yoga class. And I was like, okay, so you're aware. Like, why didn't you tell them to change it? She's like, yeah, it's like more of a stretching thing. So like, if you see my name on the schedule under yoga, just know that it's not yoga. I'm like, got it. Note taken. Okay, anyway, I want to dive into some of my thirsts right off the bat today. One thirst that's like not new at all. Like neither of these are new actually. But like I am thirsting for this whole week. Part of my breakfast meal prep has been tofu toast. Everybody does avocado toast, burrata toast, like da-da-da-da-da. But I am in my tofu toast era. I literally love it. I'll make a nice piece of toast. Right now I have like a rosemary sourdough from Whole Foods. It was delish. I'll cut a slice of that and I'll toast it with like either like vegan butter or like a little olive oil. Like I've done it with mayo before too, vegan mayo. And then I will either scramble tofu and like put it on top of it, or I will literally just like slice tofu and like pan fry it and season it and put that on top with like microgreens. Sometimes I'll put salsa or like sriracha. I've even put hot honey on top before. Sometimes I'll put like little sliced tomatoes. But it is like my obsession. It's like the easiest way to get like protein and carbs in the morning, like after my workout. And I'm literally obsessed with it. So if you've never had tofu toast, I mean, it's like eggs on toast, but if you've never specifically had tofu toast and you're not like averse to tofu, then you should give it a shot. My second thirst is peppermint tea for stomach aches. So like specifically, you your stomach's tied in knots, or if you're feeling like crampy or whatever, hot peppermint tea. I literally just buy any peppermint tea, doesn't matter, but it has to be like pure peppermint. And you gotta brew it like really strong. Like it's gotta be strong peppermint tea, warm. And I kid you not, within like you'll drink like half of it and you'll be all the way through, and like your stomach ache will be gone virtually. But even like halfway through a cup of it, like I'm like in pure relief. It's like the craziest thing ever. So, and a lot of people have told me like ginger tea and like coconut water. Coconut water sometimes works for me, sometimes it doesn't, but like ginger tea never helps my stomach. Like people swear by that, and every time I've tried it with a stomach ache, it like, if anything, it makes me like nauseous or like makes it worse. It helps a lot with like cramps. And I like ginger tea, don't get me wrong, but like if I have a stomach ache and I'm uncomfortable, like peppermint tea is what I'm like reaching for immediately. It's so good. And I even keep like a bag or two in my lunchbox to like bring with me to work just in case. So I don't want to suffer at work. Teach kids. Like I need to be comfortable. You feel me? Like today I had a headache. Also, I'm like recording at night after work because I tried to record this morning and I was having camera issues, and then I was running late, and I was like, this is just, it's not working out. So I was like, I surrender. I'll just record tonight. But yeah, like I had a headache, like a sinus headache all day today, and I didn't have anything to take. And even yesterday I had cramps and I didn't have anything to take at work. And I was like, why am I just like suffering through this? Like I need to be more prepared. So peppermint tea, y'all. Okay. I want to dive into my main subject of today's episode. I want to talk to you guys about astronomy. If you are not really a fan of like science or astronomy or space, you can just like log right off right now, because that's like gonna be the majority of this episode. I mean, not like too much, but I really want to chat about one specific subject within astronomy that I'm super fascinated by. And I found an article that is discussing some like new kind of, not like discoveries, but like new technologies. And it's kind of cool. So I'm just going to dive right in. I will link the article in the description here. I'm going to click on it too so that I can credit the full name. So the article is titled AI Helps Distinguish Dark Matter from Cosmic Noise. This is phys.org. Anyway, so diving right into this article, as a little background information, this article is discussing two separate things that are intertwining: dark matter and AI. AI, artificial intelligence, obviously computer programs and algorithms that are used to kind of create like machine learning and intelligence so that a computer can complete tasks that humans normally would, basically. I mean, that's not all of it, but if you're not really even aware what AI is, then that's like basically it. Dark matter, I looked up like Wikipedia definition, because like I know the general idea of like what dark matter is, but like figured it'd be easier to like read off an actual definition. So in astronomy, dark matter is a hypothetical form of matter that does not interact with light or electromagnetic radiation. Dark matter is implied by gravitational effects which cannot be explained by general relativity unless more matter is present than can be observed. So all in all, we have everything around us that exists matter, and the matter that we know and can detect, visible matter, can be detected because it reflects light or interacts with light in a specific way, or electromagnetic radiation. Somewhere on that spectrum, it's considered visible to us because we can use either the human eye or instruments that are human created to see it. Whereas dark matter, it cannot be seen. We just know that it exists because it interacts gravitationally with other things. And the crazy thing is that like in this article, there are some statements regarding like ratios or like percentages for dark matter. let me find that real quick. It is believed that dark matter is responsible for like 85% of all matter. And it's like, if you think of it, it's like the earth like is like what, 75% like water or something, like the ocean. And we've like barely discovered it. You know, we've barely scratched the surface. It's kind of like that. It's like 85% of like all that exists, you know, in the physical form, we can't see, and we just know it's there because it's like, but it's like invisible to us essentially. So just the idea of that racks my brain. It's insane. And it just makes me think like so many, you know, like insane, like I could just come up with a million conspiracies on like what it could be. I think it's such an interesting concept to discuss like spiritually, that like it could be like God or like the essence or like soul or like whatever, you know what I mean? And it ties kind of into like, I believe that it could potentially tie into like string theory and quantum mechanics and quantum physics and all of that, and how like everything's connected. I mean, everyone's always said that like things are all connected, but like there is actually something feasibly, we don't know, that literally could be connecting everything, and we just like can't see that it is. Or I mean, that's like a possibility. It's like crazy that may be what it is. We just don't know. Obviously we'll find out one day, and it's like so interesting. I love it. Okay, so let me continue on with some more information about dark matter specifically. The effects of dark matter occur in the context of the formation of evolution of galaxies, gravitational lensing, the observable universe's current structure, mass position in galactic collisions, the motion of galaxies within galaxy clusters, and cosmic microwave background anisotropies. I don't know what that word means. I might have to look that up, but regardless, a few other explanations within that. Gravitational lensing refers to like, so say like we have a telescope here on Earth and we're trying to take a photo of something that's like X amount of millions of light years away, you know? Because of the effects of gravity throughout space, over like distances of space, when we take a photo of what we think is like straight, like forward, you know, it's actually, the photo we get is not actually what is straightforward, because space curves dependent on gravitational like pull around it. So like if you're trying to take a photo of something that's near like a black hole or something that has like a large mass, like even like a star or like a planet, whatever, you have to like overcompensate for that like in order to get a picture of that, you have to like go from like a different angle. At least that's like what I understand from it. So like that is like one example of how we are at least aware that dark matter exists, because its effects on gravitational lensing, at least part of it. Yeah, I think it's super interesting. So that's an overview of like what dark matter is. I'm going to go into some quotes from the article that detail some new technological advancements with AI and how it's helping us in the discovery and like research of like what dark matter is. I think it's so cool. I'm like nerding out right now. Anyway, okay, so here's some quotes. Some scientists believe these particles could essentially interact with each other. Dark matter particles. So whatever they are, obviously they interact with each other as everything interacts with everything, you know. A phenomenon known as self-interaction. Detecting such interactions would offer crucial clues about dark matter's particles and their properties and like what they're made out of and what they are capable of doing, you know. So super interesting that's kind of the thing that a lot of researchers are in the process of trying to attempt to analyze, is how dark matter particles react with each other. And I guess AI is going to help do that. I don't know. It's cool. So active galactic nuclei, AGN, is one term that's used to refer to supermassive black holes. A black hole is also known as like a singularity. It's a point in space that has like infinite, I think it has infinite mass. It's like the point of no return. Everyone that's seen Interstellar, like it's a black hole, you know? But basically, supermassive black holes or AGNs, they push matter around in a way that's similar to dark matter. So it's kind of hard to tell the difference when it comes to imaging and research regarding that. It's possible to tell the difference, but it takes so much imaging, so much time, so much money and people, you know, that it's like overwhelming for researchers. And this AI tool, I guess, is going to assist in telling the difference between those two things. So astronomer David Harvey at EPFL's Laboratory of Astrophysics has developed a deep learning algorithm that can untangle these complex signals. The research is published in Nature Astronomy as of late. Their AI-based method is designed to differentiate between the effects of dark matter self-interactions and those of AGN feedback, the feedback from supermassive black holes, by analyzing images of galaxy clusters. By being fed thousands of simulated galaxy cluster images, the machine has learned to distinguish between the signals caused by dark matter and self-interactions and those caused by AGN feedback. If, you know, used to the extent that they're saying it will be, it could prove incredibly useful for analyzing the massive amounts of data that we collect from space. And that kind of that kind of circles back to like what I was saying before, and like that AI is going to be, in this specific situation, a tool that is effective in accelerating the amount of work that humans are able to do. Like how many years, how many decades it would take to process all of that information. It's just going to speed that up for us. And it's like going to make it so that we can have these discoveries sooner, which is like so exciting. Anyway, I just think that's like the most exciting news in the world. Like there is like a part of AI that kind of intimidates me, and the stereotype of like, oh my gosh, like machines are gonna surpass human intelligence, which is like definitely possible, but it's like scary to think of that, like the possibility of like what that could mean and like how are we gonna control it, and is it gonna end up in like the wrong hands? You know what I mean? Like that, the idea of like machine learning and technology in that way kind of frightens me. So you know, it's nice when I hear news regarding technology that's like positive. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. It's gonna help us learn about the world around us and the universe, and like, oh, it's just like the coolest thing ever. It makes me really think of like, this is like a tangent I had when I was taking notes about today's episode. If you haven't seen videos like this, like look it up on TikTok or something. I'll see if I can find one and link it. But there are like those animations of like space or like the ocean, like the depth of the ocean, basically, where like they show different like trenches in the ocean, and like they put different like they'll put Mount Everest to show the ratio of like how deep the deepest parts of like the ocean are. And they have similar animations regarding space, like they show Earth, and then they show our solar system, and they show our our local group of solar systems, and then our galaxy, and then like the local group of galaxies, and then like our universe, and like zoom out and like all the way, and like it's just like the craziest thing ever to just like conceptualize the sheer size of everything on like a macro scale. It's like crazy to like consider. I don't know. I think about that sometimes, and I feel like that's why this is also a random tangent, but it's related in some way. That's like why I think that I find a lot of peace and comfort when I am at the beach, because the beach is one of, it's not the only, but it's like one of the only places that I have convenient access to that reminds me that I'm like on a planet. I mean, other than just like looking up at the sky or looking up at the moon, like you can do that every day. But like when I am at the beach and I'm on the sand and I'm staring at like the horizon and I realize that like we're on like a round planet and like we're like floating in the middle of space, it's just like, so it's so crazy. It calms my soul so much because it reminds me that like, to not take life so seriously and to just like, it helps me reflect on things. Like, dude, you're just on a planet. Remember that. Like, you might only be here once. You don't know that, this might be your only chance to like have at this life thing. And I don't know. I think I feel the same way when I think just about like space and the vastness of it and like how little we are, in the grand scheme of things. That's like part of why when I was younger, I was kind of interested in astronomy and like kind of like part of me wanted to be an astronaut when I was younger. And I just never like, I don't know, I was like, I talked about it with people, but I just don't think I ever thought that could be me. So I didn't really do anything to like pursue it. And I was so passionate about music. So part of me was like, like music is, magical in its own way. Being an astronaut would be crazy. Like it's scary because it's like, it can be very dangerous. Sometimes you just don't know, but just being able to see Earth not from Earth is like insane to me. Like that's like a dream of mine for sure. So it was such an intriguing thing to me. Just like the idea of being able to like go up in space and like see Earth from like a different perspective. Yeah, I could only dream of that. I think it's the coolest thing in the world and coolest thing in the universe. And yeah, I don't know, that's like the end of my like tangent about like astronomy and everything. That's pretty much all I had to say, but I just love it. I think it's so interesting and I love talking to people about like space, and I love like watching random YouTube videos on like physics and like astronomy and just like learning random things. That's like the one thing that like that's not my career, but like I could learn about it endlessly just for fun, just because I like find it intriguing. So yeah, it is what it is. Okay, my last segment of the episode, y'all, is my hot take. My hot toddy take of the week. My hot toddy take of the week is that I think that in California or like in hot climates, that schools should have heat days or like hot days. I don't know what they would call them, but you know how like in snowy climates, they have snow days where like, oh, it's like the roads are dangerous or everyone's snowed in. It's a snow day. Kids don't go to school. I think they should have the same thing, but for extremely hot weather. Because I was teaching this week and I teach in the valley, so all my students like live in the valley. I don't, but like everyone else does. So like the weather there is like insane, dude. It was like 114 one day. And you just walk outside and like when you step into the sun, it's like your skin like stings like instantly. It's like the craziest feeling ever. If you've never experienced like intense heat like that, I don't recommend at all. It's the craziest thing ever. Like you just instantly know like my body is not built for this. You can feel it for sure. And like I had some students that were like, yeah, I had school and then our AC went out in our classroom and then there was a power outage and then we had to wait outside in the heat like for our parents to pick us up. And I was like, dude, like why? Like that's crazy. If it's like that insane, like what the hell? But then that one kid that had the power out of his school, he was like, yeah, then like they said that school is optional tomorrow. And I was like, well, yeah, like that's crazy to like have to go through all of that. I just feel like just stay home. Like, why even go to school? It's like insane to risk that with like all those kids in one spot, because power outages, I don't know if anybody watching this like has experienced a power outage during a heat wave like that, but I went to Cal State Northridge, so I lived in the Valley for college for 4 years, and there was one heat wave one summer where it was like kind of similar to that. It was like 110, 115. It was like above 110. The weather was like crazy, and we had the power go out in like our apartment building, and it was like an oven. It was like the craziest thing ever. And I just remember like me and my roommates and like friends and people just in general being like, oh my gosh, the power's out. And it was out in like a large area. So people were just like going to the mall and like trying to find anything to do in like a cold place to like escape the heat. It was like the craziest thing ever. But relating to that, like, I was talking to my mom the other day about this. Like, I feel like Los Angeles as a whole does not have good infrastructure for like electricity, or just for like heat waves in general, and for being a desert and like a hot climate that it is. Although like some of these summers have gotten worse and worse and worse, there is, some evidence of climate change regarding the weather. But just as a whole, I feel like California is like poorly fitted electrically for like the amount of power that we really need to use in the summer when it's that hot. Like so many places, like old places still don't have like central AC or even like AC units like built in like into the windows or installed in them. It's like so many old apartments, just like that's like not even a thing. And I'm like, dude, the summers get like really hot to the extent that it's like you like need that for a few days. And I was even gonna look into it the other day, like if you could rent an AC unit for like a week and then just like return it. Because I was like, this is a struggle. Like we have one unit here just in one bedroom and then nothing else. Like we have lots of windows, and so when there is a breeze outside, we can take advantage of that. And then we like don't need AC because it's like so nice, the breeze. But like in a heat wave, when it's like 96 outside and there's no wind, even if there was wind, it would be like a hot wind, like someone going on you. Like, yeah, you like need air conditioning. That's like insane, especially if you have pets. And like we have a cat. Like I was a little bit worried. I was like, dude, like we need to leave the AC on and close everything up and let the AC circulate. Like I was like, I'll put my like fan in front of the room with AC so that it like blows out faster and like the rest of the apartment cools down so that the cat is safe, because it's literally gnarly. But all that to say, Los Angeles is like very poorly fitted for power needs. Like, and I don't know, I don't understand it really, because my boyfriend's from the Middle East and like it's hot there all the time. And maybe he just like hasn't told me about experiencing power outages, but I feel like that's like not a thing. Like plenty of countries that are like insane deserts that deal with like insane heat all year round, they're doing something right. Like clearly they have it figured out, and like why can't we do the same thing? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like we need to get our shit together regarding that. But yeah, I feel like kids should have hot days. Also, like I had some students that were like, yeah, I'm supposed to have like a soccer game tomorrow. And I'm like, in what world are you going to have a soccer game tomorrow? It's going to be 109. Like, why isn't that canceled? Like, it's within 24 hours of the game. Like, it should have been canceled already. Like, that's crazy to me. So I'm like praying that my students that not have games, like whether they're at like 7 or 8 a.m. or not, like in the Valley, it's like already 90 degrees by then. And then you wait another hour or two and then it's over 100. So it's like kids should not be like doing sports outdoors in the sun in that weather. That's like super dangerous. So hopefully that they got canceled. I have one like kind of funny out of pocket student quote from this week. It's always the 10-year-olds, man. The 9 and the 10-year-olds, they really just keep it coming consistently. And so here's a student. He came in on Monday, and he's a pretty bright kid. Like, he has very good instincts, and he has good like energy and good dexterity with piano, like pretty quickly. And if he practices, like, he progresses well, but he's still new, you know what I mean? So he's apparently very self-aware, because he came into the lesson, and the first thing he said to me was, "Miss Caitlin, I just want to let you know that I did not practice this week at all, not even for 1 minute. So if I suck today, that's why." I was like, lovely. Thanks for the heads up. So we're just going to do everything we did last time. That's great. But no, like, it's fine. A lot of students are not really practicing right now because school just started and everybody's in a new grade or at a new school, and it's like an adjustment for sure. But I just thought that was hilarious. Like, well, at least you know you're gonna suck. At least you're aware of that, because some kids will come in and pretend like they practiced, and I will be able to tell instantly, like, oh, this song does not sound any better. If anything, it sounds worse than it did last week, because you haven't like seen it for a week. You've ignored it. You've neglected the song. So I just thought it was hilarious. Anyway, y'all, I am going to wrap up today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed my little rant about astronomy, and I hope you were able to nerd out with me there or learn something if this stuff is just like not even on your radar. And I realize right now I literally have this like space. Oh my God, I need to hang this. It's really heavy though. I need to get like a nail or like a picture hanging kit. I literally have this like sick, like, I think it's like a photo. It's a photo. It's not a painting. But it's like this cool space photo. And I need to hang it. I need to hang it up. Maybe I will put that as like a part of my set back here. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to like arrange this. I have my art here, but I don't want to move this. So maybe I'll put it on this wall up here. Anyway, I hope that y'all have a wonderful week and a fun weekend, and be safe. And I will see you next week. Bye.